Hello and welcome to the Embassy World Pool Championships of 2002 here in Blackpool. Yes, this year marks a very special occasion for 8-ball pool. This is the 10th anniversary of the Embassy World Championships, a tournament which has been won by some of the game's most illustrious players. It all started out back in 1993. Kevin Wright, the first man to win the event, and since then, the tournament has gone from strength to strength. If you look at the 99 winner, Quinton Han, he came all the way from Australia to lift the trophy. Chris Mellin won it last year. He won't be winning it this year, but the only man to have won it more than once, I'm delighted to say Rob McKenna is with me in the studio. Rob, great to see you. Two-time winner, very nearly made it 3 times last year as well.
Very close, yeah. Lost out in a very close final, Chris Mellin, but obviously that's history now, and we're all looking forward to this year's tournament.
What's so special about the World Championships? You're obviously one of those players that can get yourself up for it every year, can you?
It's very special. You know, it's only recently we've started getting on the TV, and for the likes of myself, I've been playing pool for many years, and to get the chance to play on TV live in some occasions, you know, it's quite exciting, and you can get yourself up very easy for it.
Now this year you sat talking to me, you're not out there, it didn't go too well this year, no?
No, I got beaten in the last 16 by a French lad. Played very well, I've got no complaints about losing. He knows the rules very well and everything, and he capitalised on all the mistakes I made.
OK, well let's take a look at the quarter-final lineup. Who sticks out for you there?
I think personally the winner of the top game will probably go on and win the tournament. That's not being disrespectful to anyone else, but Darren Appleton obviously is one of the best players in the world, and Pat Holtz has been playing absolutely excellent all week, so I think the winner of that tournament will go on and win the match. But obviously you've got the likes of Carl Morris, Lee Kendall, Jason Twist. They perform here every year and do very well. So.
And there's one name there, Steve Horan. Now he's something of an outsider, isn't he?
That's right, the young lad from Ireland. He's obviously his first time in the quarter-finals. I'm not sure if it's his first time in the tournament, but that he's obviously got a really tough game against Jason Twist in the quarter-finals. Former winner. He performs here very well every year, so that he's obviously got his work cut out.
There's the World Championships. He could spring a surprise.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you know, it's the old Cinderella story. You never know.
OK, then let's take a look at the players' profiles. Darren Appleton, what an experienced campaigner. Aged 26, seeded number 7. He's won many, many events throughout his career, but he's yet to win the Embassy World title. Will it be this year? Well, to do so, he's going to have to defeat Patrick Holtz, a very seasoned campaigner. Only seeded 29 in this event, but he's no stranger to success. The last time he played Appleton on telly, he lost in the final. He'd be looking to go one better today. OK then, Rob, one question I have to ask you. Put your money where your mouth is. Who's going to win this one?
I'm going to put my money on Pat.
OK, we're about to find out. It's over 17 frames. I'll hand you over to our MC, Alan Hughes.
Thank you, Mark, and let's welcome the quarter-finalists and first one of the game's top-ranked players in only his second season as a professional. His opponent, the number 7 seed, but the current professional number 1, a prolific winner of all the big tournaments. Ladies and gentlemen, together will you welcome the very talented Pat Holtz and dynamite Darren Appleton.
As Rob McKenna mentioned, this promises to be an absolutely cracking match, a clash of the titans. To guide you through it, I'll hand you over to our commentary team, Tony Holgate and Jim White.
Yes, cheers, Mark. And for me, this is really the quarter-final match that stands out here in the Hilton Hotel in Blackpool again. As Mark mentioned, 10 years this event has been in existence now, and just keeps getting bigger and better every year. Now, Pat Holtz will be looking for a little revenge, a loser in their last clash in a final, televised final, in fact. It's a best of 17. And his break really has been solid all week. And Tony, I know that Pat Holtz is also a very good friend of yours too, and I ran into him in the office just before this match. I had yet to say a word to him, and he just told me he was in the zone. I don't think he's ever been more ready to win.
No, I watched a lot of his games actually during this tournament, Jim, and he's been playing the best I've ever seen him play.
Yellow Ball's nominated.
Destroyed some great players. Ronan McCarthy put to the sword first, and a lot of the people would have seen Ronan playing on the television before, and he's one of the most consistent characters, and obviously the biggest name of the lot was Mr. Chris Mellin.
Yes, well, speaking of Chris Mellin, we're very fortunate to have last year's World Embassy champion with us. And Chris, the seat that Darren Appleton is occupying right now. You occupied in the second round against this man, Pat Holtz, an 8-7 loser. So obviously, if you want him to carry the flag as far as beating you is concerned, let me take you off the fence now. Who do you like in this match?
Well, I'm afraid I've got to go for Darren, unfortunately, because Pat is a very class player, but he hasn't played on the TV too often, and Darren's been there, he's got all the experience. But Pat is ready. I mean, I've spoke to Pat, and he's so confident, he's confident of beating anybody.
Well, he's had a glorious opportunity right now following that break off, and Chris, you and I spoke earlier, and you said that his break has been terrific. It's been really the key to his success to this point in this tournament, and you can see the lay of the land for the Yellows right now. Everything is in the open, and Tony, he would expect to pot out from here.
I think this match is going to be probably one of the greatest attacking games that we're going to see in the tournament. Both players like to get in amongst the balls, go for the jugular, and both got tremendous breaking ability, but Pat Holtz, this is a great, perfect opportunity for him, first frame.
Yeah, good little shot there. He just nudged the black a little more into the open. You can see it now. Yellow's all available. And you know, looking at Pat Holtz around the table, if you didn't know that this was the first game, you'd think it was in the middle of the match. He looks as composed and settled.
Well, I think if you're going to see any nerves from anybody, it's going to be early doors, first couple of frames. You know, you're all psyched up. You know you've got a big game ahead of you, not used to the tournament table. And this is where, if you're going to see mistakes, you're going to see them now. But Pat's looking cool, calm and collected.
Well, we already mentioned, Chris, that he took you out in the second round 8-7. He also won his last match against Mikey Alejandro from South Africa 8-7. And quite a little display of sportsmanship, I heard, in that match.
Yeah, Pat was actually losing the match 7-3, looking in trouble, and he couldn't really do anything right. Nothing was going right from his breaks were going wrong. He started to get himself back together, and fortunately enough for Pat, the South African Mikey, he touched the ball with his hand.
And called himself.
He called himself a foul. Nobody actually saw it, and that was great sportsmanship from Mikey. And Pat went on to win the match.
That's why I was watching that with you, Chris, and that was the second to last frame. And on the last frame, Mikey actually snookered himself on his last ball with another chance to win it. So maybe Pat's got 9 lives.
Well, he's certainly not in the mud in this one, is he? He's looking at 2 more pots to open accounts in this quarterfinal, and has not put a foot even remotely wrong. Black down. Pat Holtz takes the opening rack, the opening frame here. He leads Darren Appleton 1-0 in this race to 9.
Not hit the cue ball yet.
More experience, though. Darren has played in front of the TV cameras considerably more, and he's had measured success. This event, he is yet to fight his way through, though, to the final.
To break.
Last year, in fact, thanks to Chris, he didn't proceed any further than the quarters. But it's Darren Appleton to break off now, frame number 2. And no friends.
Open table.
Another look at it. Darren didn't look like he hit that quite as hard as he's capable of.
Well, we're sat here now, and I mean, Jim and I are sat with Chris Mellon, and Chris, you've got one of the biggest breaks in the world, and when you won the title last year, a lot of that was down to the big break and putting lots of balls, and both of them, we've watched both of them break, and do you think they're really putting everything into the break?
I don't think they're both hitting the ball as hard as they want to, basically because they've just got on the big table, and they just want to keep themselves calm and get used to the conditions. Just more or less control
Red balls in play.
But I think Darren, he's struggled with his break on the big table throughout all the World Championships I've seen him playing, and it could be bad news if he keeps breaking like that.
Well, again, a real sign of confidence from Pat Holtz. He has just cleared the 2 reds that were awkwardly placed, and as in the opening frame, everything there for him. You can see the red over the right center will afford ideal position to the 2 bottom right. And Tony, This looks like clear sailing to me yet again.
Well, you've got to fancy Pat to finish him here. And Darren, well, this is not how we probably envisaged starting the match.
Yes, could well be digging himself a hole here. And, you know, there is always a settling in period when you're playing the opening match, especially with the TV cameras present. And Pat Holtz certainly seems to have adjusted considerably quicker than his Darren Appleton.
Well, Pat Holtz is not the type of player you want to let go into a big lead, I can tell you. Once his confidence gets sky high, he'll soon move through the balls. And he's such a fantastic talent. And on his day, as we all know, that he can be anyone.
Yes, and as Rob McKenna noted, he's ageless. Everything nicely placed. Again, what's impressing me the most is how he's very measured. He's not hurrying anything. He's taking a lot of time, being very certain how he wants to remove the balls and in what order. He's going to leave himself a nice angle on the last red to be able to take the cue ball up for the black to his choice of bottom corners, or he could even elect the center pocket. Just depends how he feels.
And then he'll settle for that, Jim. And this is looking like 2-0.
Oh, this is mouth-watering stuff, this. Just controlling that cue ball on a sixpence. Once again, the 8 disappears, and Pat Holtz has taken the opening 2 frames in this best of 17 quarterfinal. Pat Holtz 2, Darren Appleton 0. So Pat Holtz all set to break off frame number 3 of a possible 17. Got one on the first break, and he hasn't been quite so lucky this time. So Darren Appleton's first real look in.
But just look where he's left the cue ball, Jim. As we see Pat Holtz play the break shot once more. As you can see, no ball's going off the break, but just look where the cue ball's finished. You see the yellow just come in front of the white. No easy shot for Darren Appleton.
Isn't that the way it always goes, though? The gods of pool only smile when you tell them a joke.
Doesn't rain, Jim, but it pours.
And already noticeably a look of concern on Darren's face. A difficult long red to open.
He's got a fluke, and that's unbelievable.
Red ball spotted.
Well, he missed the red he was going for, and
Well, that might have been the joke that he was waiting for.
I think you're right. Let's have another look at this. See, Darren is going for the red. Well, he went for the red down the bottom of the table. He jawed, flew up the table, knocked into another red and sent it into the corner.
Not really dire straits, but Darren wants to send a message to Pat Holtz as well. And if he could dish up here and take all the reds and the black to follow, at least that's going to let Pat Holtz know that he's in for the long haul.
I think Darren's got to take his opportunity now, because you're not going to get that many opportunities against Pat the way he's queuing. I think he's got to take it now and take the bull by the horns.
Again, very straight queuing from Darren Appleton. This is the one title that all the players want.
Pretty good shot there from Darren. Just shifting the yellow ball out of the way of his red that he's going to send into the centre pocket. Just wants to make sure now.
Exactly, Tony. Be certain how he plays the last red to drop onto the black, ideally.
Just a little sign of nerves there from Darren. Normally Darren would have knocked these balls in now and he'd be sat back in his chair, Chris, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he's a bit worried about how to get on the black. He's played a good shot there to land dead straight. If he'd have landed half ball on the red, it was quite difficult to get on the black. But he's played quite a wise shot there.
Yes, good point, Chris. That's exactly what I was thinking. And pulling that cue ball over now, he's really taken those yellows out of play, hasn't he?
Just one more shot now to make it 2-1.
But the interesting thing is he'll have won the frame with a fluke in his first shot.
And the long black deposited from Darren Appleton gratefully accepted that fluke and manufactured it into his first frame win. 2-1 to Pat Holtz.
Well, we knew it was going to be good, but I'm not too sure it's going to be as good as this. Been very impressive so far, Rob.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's three clearances now. First attempt. Doesn't get much better than that, and Darren can think himself a little bit fortunate to have nicked that frame, because if he didn't get the fluke, I'm sure it would have been 3-0. But
it's certainly a very, very exciting match indeed. They haven't missed a ball as of yet. Frame 4 about to get underway.
Frame 4, Appleton all set to break. I'm certain feeling a lot better after having taken his first frame. 2-1 the score line, and Appleton with a ball off the break. And a golden opportunity, as we see again. A successful break off from Appleton. Gilt-edged chance to try and pull back to level pegging.
It's interesting to see that Darren's actually chose a break cue for this match. I've never seen him use a break cue. I think he's a little bit worried because his ferrule snapped off when he was practicing last week, and I think he's a little bit worried of damaging his ferrule.
Yes, a lot of the players, they use the snooker cues, don't they, Chris, as you do? I think you use about a 7mm cue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, my cue's 8mm, 12 ounces. It's just what you get used to, really, you know. If you play well, no matter how much it costs or what it looks like, if you can play with it and it works, why change?
Yeah. That's right. Darren Appleton, I know, he plays with a 7.5mm, and I actually play with a 7. So obviously I'm not the wisest person in the world.
Yeah, you can always turn it around and pick your teeth.
Well, that's all I had left to do with it in this tournament, being beaten in the last 64.
30 seconds.
Again, you can see Darren's eyes. They're just darting back and forth. He's visualizing the pattern with which to try and remove these yellows.
He's played a good shot there. I think he might actually take the black out here, just to bring the black into play to make the clearance a little bit easier.
Really doesn't have any problems. It's all about cue ball control at this point. But again, given the position of the reds, he knows that a miss could well be fatal in this frame.
The thing is, Chris, if he does take the black out and the cue ball does sit on that side rail, he could be left with no shot.
Yeah, I think he's got to hit the black half ball off the back cushion. Yeah, he's played that very well. I think he's looking to leave the yellow in the middle bag, just to leave a dead straight black in the corner to finish this frame off.
Well, still a couple of more balls before
This
Darren's
is
going to get to that.
almost a key shot coming up right here. Not straightforward to get position, and look at that.
Well, that's an unbelievable miss.
Red ball's in play.
That cue ball was a little close to that side cushion, and it didn't look to me like position was straightforward onto the next yellow from there. I'm not sure what yellow he was even playing on following that one. But that, a horrendous mistake from Darren Appleton. And we've already noted the position of the reds.
Well, Darren Appleton, he's won just about everything in the game of pool, and the one thing that's eluded him is the world title.
30 seconds.
Such a great player, but I wonder if this tournament will just add that extra bit of nerve into his game. What do you think, Chris? Because you know Darren very well, don't you?
I agree with you, Tony, but to be fair, in Darren's defence, he's had quite a bad draw over the last 4 years. He's drawn Quinton Han, who's won the tournament, and he's drawn myself the last 2 years. And really, he hasn't done much wrong. It's just the standard of the game has been so high. I think he's been quite unfortunate.
Well, Chris, I have to echo that. I've seen the standard. I've been here since this event started, and the standard of play has improved drastically. I mean, the clearances we're seeing now are almost commonplace. Nice little shot there. He's just bumped that red over the center pocket, and he's really only got one more difficult red, and I guess that would be a matter of choice, whether the one beside the black or the one just to the right of that yellow above the black. So Again, just depends which one he wants to play on. From the red over the right center. Certainly, certainly. We paid for it. We might as well use it.
This is a tricky little shot Pat's got to play here. There's a couple of options what to do. I think he'll screw back for the one next to the black and play the last red in the middle bag. He's got to land a perfect angle here, though.
Looks like he's took that a little bit too far, Chris.
Yes, he could be screwing into the yellow there, Tony.
It almost looks like he can draw straight back, though, to play the red to the right center and just roll forward for the black bottom right. I don't think he's going to have much choice. He's already had a look to see if he stops the cue ball there, if the red is available top right. And he's going to have another look. He wants to be certain. This would be the easiest path to victory.
30 seconds.
We can actually make an angle with it. He could play it with, if he leaves the cue ball where the red is, he could play it with left-hand side and swing the cue ball around the yellow slightly. And also he'd bump into the yellow, land straight on the black. And that looks pretty good.
Just available.
Play with left-hand side, you're making sure the cue ball skids into the red and it will push it to the right.
Just bump into the yellow to clear it and leave yourself a dead black bottom right. We don't miss many from the commentary box, do we, boys?
Pat looks to be in awesome form here. He hasn't really made a mistake, and the only frame Darren's won is from a fluke.
A man on a mission right now is Pat Holtz. The eye of the tiger. Pat Holtz 3-1 in front of Darren Appleton. Pat Holtz 3-1 in front, all set to break now. Frame 5 of this, our first quarterfinal. Yellow bottom right.
There's also a red, Jim, in the top right-hand corner. It's got one of each.
Well, really only one problem right now. You again see the break off from Pat Holtz, successfully completed. Red top, yellow bottom. But as they come to rest, you can see there's one problem area on the left-hand cushion. The yellow and red together, those will have to be matured for a path to victory.
30 seconds.
And again, looking at the yellow nearest those two. The bank, I suppose, or a double may be available. And Pat Holtz just doesn't look like missing.
I'm not sure if I'd have taken reds there, Jim. I like the yellows because obviously where the two balls are clustered on the left-hand cushion is a yellow right near it.
Here's the double.
Big shot, this one. And there you are, he's missed, but he's also opened up the yellow on the side rail for Darren, and this is a great chance for Darren to get back in this match.
I think a little bit of an experience showed on that shot there. He's in control, 3-1 up, and I think he's just trying to force the issue a little bit there.
Well, if nothing else, though, Chris, he sent a little mental message over to Darren Appleton that he doesn't fear him. And down to Darren Appleton to try and give him a reason to.
This is what has made Darren Appleton such a great player, is taking his chances when he gets them. He very rarely misses. And this is going to be a sure sign of how this match will swing, I think, now.
And you can see that he will be leaving that one yellow nearest the black. It could well be his final yellow, just to leave the natural position to the black bottom right.
Darren's noted as being one of the best rail potters in the game. He very rarely misses a ball down the cushion. And from here, I don't think he's going to miss. He's just landed a little bit too straight, though, on this one.
Are you familiar at all with the commentator's curse, Chris?
I am, but knowing Darren for how long I've known him and knowing how good he is at these shots, I can't see him missing this one.
Oh, you know too much. You know too much. Now, he may have to take that cue ball to the right-hand side of the table to leave the gap. He's just showing you now. He just wants to float over into this area now, where the X is, to leave the black bottom left. And this has to be cue ball control.
Absolutely spot on. He has just come far enough. It's a great shot from Darren Appleton.
Oh, he just got through to that black, put his hand up. That was a terrific visit, and what a reply from Darren Appleton there. The laxed effort from Pat Holtz, punished quickly. 3-2, Holtz over Appleton. But Pat Holtz, obviously, Chris, you talked about inexperience. The fact that he hasn't played on television as much as Darren Appleton could well weigh into the equation here.
Yeah, the world setup for the World Championships is so much different from every other TV event. The crowds are bigger, the table, just everything, the whole aura is different.
Frame, Darren Appleton to break, trading 3 frames to 2.
Frame number 6, Darren Appleton, after a terrific clearance in the last one. 3-2, this quarterfinal finally poised for a photo finish. Nothing down.
Nothing gone, and just look at the reds, Jim.
Reds begging. Well, that's one that got away from Darren. These top players know too well how big the break is.
He gave it a bit extra that time as well. So he's going to be disappointed he didn't make a ball from the break.
And you know what's nice about the position of the Reds here is when Pat does decide to take that plant bottom right and hopefully develop the one that's awkwardly placed on the bottom, he's got the saving grace, the insurance policy, if you will, of that red over the bottom left corner.
Nice clean pot there from Pat Holtz.
And I think he's going to take it right here.
He's going to play the plant. Kicks the yellow ball from off the bottom of the rail. Develops a red that's next to it, and this opens everything up.
I'm quite surprised Pat, on the last shot before that one, didn't play for the top red. It makes it a little bit harder to clear the balls as all the reds are at the bottom of the table, and he's left the one up the top again.
Chris, I totally agree. All he had to do was follow through on that red to remove the one top of the table as we look, but still, everything's in the open. He's bumped that yellow to what looks like leave a path for the red in the center of the table, just to make sure that does pass to the bottom right corner once the other red is removed.
Yeah, what you're just saying there, Chris, is exactly right. You try and take out your finishes in areas, gets away from the in-offs that you can have by moving the cue ball up and down the table. You don't want it to move very far at all, really, when you're finishing a game.
That's right, Tony. He's playing up for the red now, which he should have taken 2 shots ago. And there's a slack shot, really. I think he tried to get on the top red then.
Well, the important thing here is to leave an angle on his penultimate red if he does leave that red top of the table to the end. He's showing you where he'd like to take that white to do just that. These guys are firing rockets at each other.
Well, Pat's got to make sure he gets the cue ball in the right position here. If he leaves this short, he won't be able to get up to the top of the table. And by taking that red away from the pocket, every bag is now open. Should Pat miss a red, unless he hangs it in the jaws, the frame will be open for Darren Appleton to pounce once again.
He's got the angle here just to take that cue ball, if he chooses, right in between the yellow and the black, almost straight up to the table. But stretching isn't going to help him.
Time out.
I think he might have to use the rest, Jim. It's a sensible option.
Time running.
You see the referee, Melvin Harley, handing him the rest.
Big shot, this one. This will be either in or right over the pocket. And look at the position.
Nice pocket though, Jim, wasn't it? Very friendly pocket in my opinion anyway. What do you reckon, Chris?
Yes, I'm surprised that ball went in, but the pockets are cut the same. It's just the TV lighting and the heat all around the table makes them slightly more generous.
As you saw, it just struck the rail first.
Yes, just softens the cushion enough to make those pockets just a little more sympathetic. And
that's a cracking positional shot there from Pat Holtz. It's a fairly thin snip, but you don't fancy him to miss it.
It just doesn't look like missing at the moment, doesn't Pat? Awesome form.
And he doesn't. Once again, a 2-frame lead secured by Pat Holtz. He leads Darren Appleton 4-2 in this best of 17 quarterfinal. Frame 7, we see Pat Holtz at the table. He hasn't been 3 in front yet, and he'll never see a better chance to get 3 in front than right now. His choice of colors, but what a great break-off from Holtz. Another look at it. Chris, you talked before we came in of how well Pat Holtz was breaking, and certainly that was one of his trademarks in his victory over you. And it seems to have followed him right through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Pat's renowned for having a very good break at pool. Again, he's potted 3 balls off the break there, and it looks as though he's going to clear up again against Darren, and there's nothing Darren can do about it.
I don't know if you guys noticed at the end of the last frame the little wry smile that Pat sent across towards Darren Appleton as he went back to his chair. When Pat does get in front, he does like to, you know, let you know that he's there at the table and he's in control.
Yeah, I think Pat's just trying to play a few mind games on Darren because he's in the lead. He did it against me when I played him, but I mean, somebody of Darren's experience, it shouldn't really bother him.
Yeah, I heard he winked at you, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he winked at me, pointed at me.
Then gave you his phone number.
Well, this hasn't worked out ideally for Pat. You can see that red doesn't look to be available. Is he considering the plant? He's just covering the pocket.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, I think he's just trying to put a bit of pressure on the Darren.
I think Darren's got quite a good chance here. If he can drop the yellow in the top bag, he can actually play the yellow below in off the red, which will open the pocket up and he'll have a clearance on. It's just this one first shot. If he can get perfect position, I fancy Darren to get these.
So you call that a very good chance. So I'd say that's pretty tough, especially under the pressure, you know, you're behind. It's okay when you're 4 or 5 frames in front playing those sort of shots, but not easy in the position he's in now.
Played it very well. Looks perfect position now.
He could even go after that yellow into the left center, Chris. That's going to be an awkward one that is available really only to 2 pockets if he elects.
Yeah, I think what Darren will try and do is stun the yellow in off the red, play the yellow in the right-hand centre, holding for the yellow in the left-hand centre, then the 2 yellows up the cush for the black in the corner. I know the way Darren thinks about this game, and he thinks about his finish all the way through.
He's very aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah, he only likes one opportunity per frame.
But this has to be said is a very difficult clearance. That's the shot you suggested, Chris, and he has just cleared the pocket now.
It's been quite unfortunate there to put the red in front of the yellow.
Yes, watch that red come back and cover the yellow on the right-hand side. That's making things just a little trickier for Darren Appleton.
Well, they weren't that easy in the first place, to be honest, and he's done exceptionally well to give himself the opportunity to win this frame. And I really feel now, Darren, if Darren's going to stamp his authority on this game and get back into it, He really needs to take these balls out now. That's a super shot. What a great shot from Darren. See the top spin on the cue ball there.
But still, Tony, the one problem that I see is he isn't going to be able to leave himself a lot of angle to get that cue ball back into the center of the table. Not unless he hits this with some authority. And he did. What a great shot that was.
That was looking very confident pot in there from Darren Appleton. Playing shots like that, you'd think he was 4 frames in front. But that one wiped his feet.
Yeah, that one went in the back door then, but Darren will be happy to see that ball drop.
Yes, no kidding. Again, the table being a little sympathetic at the moment. And this 8, bottom left, to again pull one back. It's in the bank now. Darren Appleton, 3, Pat Holtz, 4. Appleton is keeping Holtz right in his sights. And Pat Holtz, certainly, maybe a bad decision there where he tried to cover the pocket.
I don't think it was that bad a decision, but I think Darren, you have to give credit to Darren for pulling out a tremendous finish from 4-2 down. That was such a big frame to win.
Darren Appleton to break. Trailing 4 frames.
Darren Appleton all set to break now after a terrific clearance. 4-3 he trails, and he dearly loved to get back on level pegging. And a yellow goes down to try and help him.
Yellow ball spotted.
Well, all the yellows are very easy, but it's the 8 ball that's looking the most tricky. Should he take the yellows? And as we look at Darren break off again, a lot more power this time in his break. Have you noticed a change then, Chris?
Yeah, Darren's starting to put a lot of force into his break now. I think he's getting a little bit angry because he's not putting balls off the break. On the 7-foot tables, Darren hits the ball as hard as anybody I've seen on the break. But for some reason, he takes a lot of pace off when he comes to the TV
Yellow
table.
ball's in play.
30 seconds.
I'll have to agree with you there, Chris. I don't really understand why he does, because playing on a bigger table, you think you need a bit more power.
I think Darren could be tempted to play this yellow in off the red here. I think it's too risky. Played it well. The game's over now. Darren won't miss these.
That's just a sign of confidence there from yourself, and also a sign of confidence from Darren Appleton to attempt that shot so early on in the frame.
Well, if nothing else, Pat Holtz has to feel like the mistake he made in judgment in the last frame now could well cost him 2.
Well, Darren's trying to give him plenty of time to be thinking about it.
30 seconds.
Again, just weighing it up in his mind how he wants to remove these yellows.
Well, he knows he can't afford any more mistakes. We've seen him make a couple early on in this match, but he's starting to look a lot more positive now.
Yeah, I think he just had a little bit of early nerves when he started. You do get nervous before you play your first few frames, but it looks to be playing really well at the moment.
I think it's fair to say, though, the absence of any tactical battles having appeared in this one, pretty well running to form, isn't it? We expected this to be a very loose, high-flying affair.
Well, neither player likes to start blocking the pockets and going for the tactical frames. They both like open pull, as do we, and it's been fantastic to watch. Two of the game's great players standing toe-to-toe and playing some fantastic stuff.
I think he's got to be quite careful with his next shot here, just to hold position on the black. That's the key shot here.
It almost looks, Chris, like he can leave it somewhere in the center of the table. Just to leave that black bottom left. And he's got the angle on this yellow. Just bump the cue ball off that left cushion and bring it back towards the center. He's showing you right now his room for error. What a performance this has been from Darren Appleton. And all this just to get back to 4-4.
Great shot there from Darren. Looks to be perfect position. Looks like we could be seeing a 4-all.
It's living up to all its advanced billing. Many thought this was going to be a titanic struggle, and it certainly is. We're into the mid-session interval now, deadlocked at 4 frames apiece.
Superb stuff from both players. I just wonder, though, who's going to be the happier of the two players, even though it is 4-4. Rob McKenna's still with me, Rob. 4-4, but I just get the impression Appleton will be slightly happier than Holtz.
I'm sure Darren will be a lot happier. You know, it's neither one's really made a lot of mistakes, but just that one telling frame, and when Darren had the fluke in the 3rd frame, he went on to win the frame from it. Could have been 3-0, ended up 2-1, and I think that may have been the slight turning point in that session.
Because Mr. Appleton is certainly more confident. In the last frame, we see a clever little shot he played. Could have played the direct pot, but electing just to cannon off of the red. That's a sign of confidence, surely.
Sure, I mean, I'm much the same as Darren. I like to attack from the start, and that was definitely the right shot to play, but once again, he played it very well and took a really nice clearance out.
Now, I know when it's 4-2 up, you were very confident. You're still confident that Patrick can run out a winner?
I know he can definitely win a match. If he gets his chances, he'll win the match. But as you've seen there, you know, you go 3-4 games without getting a chance. As what happened early on, Pat got the chances, and then Darren got them. So it's just a matter of who gets the chances, I believe. In
a tremendous 8 frames. There's still a very long way to go. It's the first to 9. We're going to take a short break. Plenty more action after the break. Don't go away. See you in a couple of moments. Welcome back to our first quarter-final in this year's Embassy World Championships. You can just see the two players returning to the table. It's a fascinating encounter, poised at 4-4. It's the first to 9 frames. I'll hand you back to our commentary team of Chris Mellin, Tony Holgate and Jim White.
The first 8 frames show absolutely nothing in it between these two. Appleton looked like he was faltering. Pat Holtz looked like racing away. And all of a sudden, Appleton came back in with 2 superb clearances. Frame number 9, Pat Holtz breaks off, 4 apiece. Virtually down to a best of 9 now. The first player to take the next 5 will be through to the semi-finals.
He's got nothing off the break there. As Darren Appleton comes to the table. We'll have another look at Pat Holtz's break. Didn't put a great deal of force into it. I can tell you, during the interval, went to try to speak to Pat Holtz, and he would not speak to me or Chris or anybody. He just sat and stared at the wall.
He certainly doesn't seem as relaxed as he did when this match started. No smirks on his face at the moment. And understandably, Darren Appleton has really produced the goods. A couple Houdini acts in this match already from Appleton. And certainly benefited from a fluke early in the match when things looked like they could become very dire for him.
Yes, I think Darren's starting to get in the zone now. He's moving around the table a lot quicker, taking out the finishes. It doesn't look as though he's going to miss.
Interesting choice of words. That's exactly what Pat Holtz said to me, Chris, when this match started, that he felt like he was in the zone.
You see the roll there on the red ball? That was going straight towards the right knuckle of that corner pocket. We'll have another look. You see the red, it's going straight towards the knuckle, and there you see the left-hand turn, and well, it's against the nap on the table, and it can make the ball turn.
Well, if anything, though, Tony, if I was a player, I would never mind seeing that. It just means that the cushions are going to hug. The cushions down into the pockets, they'll hold very nicely. And again, that's probably one of the reasons we've seen these pockets play quite generous to this stage.
Darren's just had a massive kick on the red there, just wanted to follow through a few inches. The white stopped dead, and he doesn't look too happy with it.
This red looks like it still passes, though. Now, what does he do with the black now, Chris?
I think these 2 options, really. I think he can screw off the top cush, back down to where the white is now, or he could top it through off the yellow and play the black into the middle bag. He's got 2 options, really.
Off the yellow, and bring the cue ball down into this area. Well, that'll be difficult.
I think he'd rather script to the top of the table. There you see, that's the option he's chosen. He could have actually gone up to the top rail and back down again to make it slightly easier, but he's obviously feeling confident and that he can knock this 8 in. We're going for the bottom left-hand corner. A lot of pressure on this shot.
And down it goes, again wiping its feet. Darren Appleton has never been in front in this match until right now. 5-4, he leads Pat Holtz in this best-of-9 quarterfinal. And Pat Holtz just having a good look at the rack. He wants to make sure everything's touching. He'd like a total displacement of these yellows and reds. But what a great one that was for Pat, that last frame.
Pat Holtz to break. 5 frames.
Frame number 11. Now Pat Holtz will want to carry on with the momentum that he seized from Darren Appleton. A successful break will do just that. Didn't hit those as hard as we've seen.
Table.
No, he's not putting much power into the break now. I think Darren's putting him under a lot of pressure. And it's very unusual for Pat not to hit the balls a lot harder than that.
Well, I have to say that's a poor break-off. I mean, in my opinion, and I know it's your opinion, Chris, as well, you've got to slam the pack. The most important shot in 8-ball pool is the break. If you put off the break, you're in control of the frame, even if the balls aren't open.
In play.
That's right, Tony. When you come to this World Championships and you've got so many good players, especially when it comes to the quarter-finals, you get one opportunity, and if you get that opportunity, you've got to take it. And Pat doesn't seem to want to play. He's struggling off the break.
Well, a great opening now for Darren Appleton. Played a nice little shot in his last one. Just opened all the reds up.
You really have to take your hat off to Darren Appleton, though. He found himself 3-1 behind at one stage in this, and Pat Holtz had done nothing wrong, but Darren dug in. Would have been so easy for him to fold his tent, but he dug in, and he now finds himself right back in the thick of things. 5 apiece, and all to play for in this, our first quarterfinal. A best of 17, first player to reach 9 will be through to the semifinals. A record 41,000 pounds on offer this year, and the lion's share of that, 10 grand, going to the winner of this men's singles event.
I think you'd like the cue ball a bit further down the table, Chris, don't you?
Yeah, that's a poor shot from Darren. I think he wanted just to be about another foot down so he can pop the red and cannon the black. I'm not too sure what he's going to do here. I think he might go around the back of the red, play the other red in the same pocket, then go up the table for the red along the top cushion. That's a terrible miss from Darren. You don't often see that.
Yellow balls in play.
And what's worse is he hasn't covered the pocket.
There we see him shaking his head.
Here we see it again. Overcut it by a long, long way.
The 2 yellows just above the black certainly look to pose a problem.
That's right. I think Pat Holt's going to play a double with the yellow at the top of the table now, down into the bottom right-hand corner. He's going to try and take control of that pocket.
It's not a good shot from Pat. It's notable to see that he's not attacking the game as much as he was earlier on. He's trying to slow Darren down, I think, because he knows if Darren gets in a flow, there's no stopping him.
But really, that goes against Pat's strengths too, doesn't it, Chris?
It does, yeah. I just think he's trying to... Again, I just think he's trying to slow him down to get him out of his rhythm. Because once you get one of these two in the zone, as I say, it's very hard to get them back out of it.
Well, he went for everything right there. Narrowly missed that double, and Pat Holtz back in with an opportunity. Again, yellows aren't ideally placed. He's going to have to maneuver that cue ball around to get into position to attack them. But the chance is there.
Yeah, I think what Pat's trying to do here, he's going to try and pop the red pass the pot the yellow past the red over the corner pocket,
30
and
seconds.
then possibly cannon pot the yellow in the right hand bottom pocket, cannon in the red to hold for the yellow in the middle, and that'll open every ball up on the table for him.
Nicely played. Still on the yellow bottom right.
Just wants to play this with a touch of left-hand side. You see what he's sizing up there. That's where he wants the cue ball to be. There you see him putting the side on the cue ball. Just came a little far up the table than he'd have liked. But he's still on the yellow into the left-hand centre pocket. Or he can go up the top right-hand corner with the other yellow.
Either way, Tony, he's cleared the pocket, hasn't he? The black available now. So, as we've seen in the past, more pressure placed on this finish.
I'll be surprised if Pat doesn't go for the middle pocket here, because he can run through and then play the yellow
30
in the
seconds.
top left-hand corner. Much more difficult shot here.
Fought its way to the bottom of the pocket. And if he's dropped on that yellow into the top left corner, every chance now for Pat Holtz. But another look at this. This hit a ways up the cushion. And normally you don't see the pockets accept balls when they're that far away. But again, it's benefited both players, hasn't it?
Pockets are absolutely massive, Jim. Buckets.
30
If I'd have
seconds.
played on a table like this in my earlier round, I might still be in. And if the balls are a bit smaller as well. Played a good shot there, Pat Holtz. Absolutely perfect. He's going to play the yellow ball up the left-hand rail into the top left-hand corner just there. Hold the cue ball onto the side cushion, and then he's going to play the yellow into the right-hand centre. And that's where we're going. And that's where Pat wants to be going.
30 seconds.
Nice and delicately done by Pat. And this is absolutely perfect, and can't see him missing from here, Chris.
No, and again we see one opportunity missed by one of the players, and the other one keeps clearing up. You just can't afford to miss at this standard.
Not much in the way of facial expressions, but he certainly has to be feeling a lot better inside. Down goes the 8. Once again, Pat Holtz replies. He's taken the last 2 frames and leads Darren Appleton 6-5 in this race to 9. Frame 12. Appleton all set to crack into them. Needs something down. And the hand waving in despair said everything.
And a nice dejected walk for Darren Appleton back to his chair. Let's look at this break again. You see that cue ball bounce in the air. And just look at where the reds are. The yellow ball's all slotted onto the bottom rail. There's at least 4 of them down there. And the reds controlling both the corners. No prizes for guessing which colour Pat's going to want.
We've seen no less than 3 noticeable momentum swings in this match. Early on, when Holtz seized the momentum, and then Appleton wrested it back to come back from a 3-1 and a 4-2 deficit. Holtz responded by taking the last 2 racks, the last 2 frames here now to go back 6-5 in front. But it's all about who pots the last ball, not the first.
I'm surprised Pat's taken that ball. If he leaves that ball there, he's in so much control. He could have potted the red over the middle bag. I just can't believe he's taken that one.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why he's taken that. It's because he wasn't confident enough to take on one of these at the top. So he thought he might miss one of them and leave Darren with a free go at the Reds.
Yellow ball's in
Well, I
play.
can tell you, I have never seen Pat Holtz turn an opportunity down like that before.
No, I have to agree with you there, Chris.
Mark that one down, folks. Certainly a sign of a player that is not exuding the confidence that he should be at this moment in time. Will it be a telling tale?
Yeah, Pat's had two long matches before this one. He beat myself 8-7, and he beat Mike Alexander 8-7, and it could be taking its toll on him.
Well, you have to think that those would be character builders, though, Chris. When players come through those, they get a lot more self-belief that they can perform under pressure.
They do get a lot more self-belief, but I also think it takes a lot out of you as well.
I'll tell you what, Darren's played another poor shot, Chris.
Suffering in his chair at the moment is Darren Appleton. Another look at the shot. The last thing he wanted to do was push that red down over the pocket.
Well, he's tried to tie the Reds up, and all he's done in achieving is opening them back up again. He's made them easier than ever. Just one big pot here from Pat Holtz. He's going to have to take this on the length of the table. He's slightly awkward queuing. Top right-hand corner. Should he get this pot? The frame's there at Pat Holtz's mercy. And that was a lovely strike of the cue ball.
As sweet as a nut. Holtz in again. Always easy.
So the cue ball just slightly jump as it set off there.
Yeah, it's always easy, Tony, as I was going to say. You know, we tried to second guess Pat was going against the form that he's displayed in his career. And all of a sudden, the one poor shot really from Darren Appleton makes Pat Holtz look like a genius. There's still work to be done here. But wouldn't you rather be shooting the reds and the yellows from this position? And 6-5 already in front. If he gets to 7-5, Darren Appleton's back will be against the wall.
I think he's just got one problem ball here. The red, where the two reds are together, the bottom one. I think if he pots that, he needs to cannon the yellow half ball. I think if he gets the wrong angle, though, it could go wrong.
Well, they can get pretty close to these two reds, Chris. And like you say, control is now the essence. Doesn't have to really do anything with the white. It's just bringing it back past the yellows and giving himself the angle to get on the black.
Yes, I think he's landed just about perfect there. Play this with a touch of left-hand side.
Needs to be able to leave it so he can get at the cue ball. Not like so he's stuffed right behind the yellow. He's got to have a lot of awkward cueing. He just wants to bring it out of this gap.
Wow. I'll bet his heart was in his mouth there. He's okay. He hasn't looked yet. But I can tell you, folks, his heart skipped a beat on that shot.
He thought he'd snookered himself then. Just that kiss off that first yellow, and there you see his head hang. He thinks, I can't see the red, but we have the added technology to see that he was clearly on the red, and he can get perfect control to bring the cue ball out for the 8 ball.
And that's what this shot's about, control. Beautifully done by Pat Holtz. Appleton took 3 frames in succession. Holtz responds in kind. He now leads Darren Appleton 7-5 in this quarterfinal.
Well, I don't know how Patrick Holtz feels, but I certainly feel under pressure just watching it. A tremendous match. Rob, what's going to happen?
You tell me. We've had one swing after another. We've seen Pat a couple up, Darren retake the lead, and now Pat go another couple in front. But I'm sure there's a lot more twists in this match.
But we knew that Patrick Holtz, he can play under pressure. He's had 2 8-7s already in this match, in this tournament. He defeated the reigning world champion. So if it goes to the deciding frame, who'd you put your money on?
The way it's going, I'd put my money on Pat, obviously winning a couple of deciders already. You know, maybe his name's on the trophy. Obviously, I'm hoping Pat pulls away a little bit.
OK, this is it then. The 13th frame. Holtz leading 7-5.
He's in a very enviable position, is Pat Holtz right now, as he strides to the table for frame 13. Will it be lucky 13? Ball in off the break. 7-5 in front.
I think we have to say that that was a poor rap by the referee there. We saw the balls didn't really split when he hit them.
That's what happens when there's spaces between the colors, Chris, isn't it? The balls just don't disperse the way they would normally. That energy isn't spread throughout them. But he's just maneuvered it now where all the reds are in the open, and a gilt-edged opportunity.
It's a great shot there from Pat. And like you say, Jim, this is a real chance.
Yes, we see Pat attacking the table again. A few frames ago he was covering pockets, but he's got the lead back now. He's got his confidence back and he's just attacking everything.
Now you see where he wants to have his cue ball for his next shot.
20 seconds.
Just wants to bring it to the left-hand side of the table. He looks pretty good to me. A couple of teammates in the crowd there, appreciating it.
Now we see Pat swaggering around the table again. That cocky swag he's got. You know he's feeling good when he does that.
And quicker too, Chris. Fancies it. His body language says it all.
Just going to roll the cue ball through here gently. And he looks pretty good. And you'd be happy with a finish like this, Chris?
Yes, I think he's got to be careful with this one. I think he's got to play 2 cushions really, unless the red to the right goes in the centre.
Red into the bottom corner, and the cue ball off the cushions, like this.
And that gives him the choice of both reds.
Oh, he's checked it.
He's played it very well.
He elected to try and kill the white, didn't he? And
well, it gives him a perfect angle now to get onto the last red. He's just seeing where he wants to be to position himself to get onto the 8 ball. And this is going to put Darren Appleton on the verge of defeat. Once again in the one tournament that's eluded him, the Embassy World Championships.
Yes, I feel very sorry for Darren, because every time he plays in this World Championship, he comes up against somebody who's playing out of the skin. And there's nothing you can do about it when you aren't getting to the table.
It's a very lonely chair. I've been sat on in that chair many a time, and so have you, Chris. No one's going to give you any help there, are they?
I lost to Pat
30 seconds.
last year in the Embassy European Championships. He played awesome there. And he's not the type of player who's going to fall over against you. Well, that is unbelievable. I cannot believe he's tried to screw off the side cushion.
He just did not need to do that, did he?
No, I think he's tried to force the issue there a little bit. He could have held it, he could have rolled into the yellow. He had lots of options there, but that is just unbelievable.
I think that's worth remembering, that shot. What looks certain to be 8-5 might well be transformed into 7-6. And what a different scoreline.
And that one could come back to haunt him, and he's also given a foul away now. He's hit the 8 ball, but he's also knocked one of Darren's yellows into the centre pocket, and it's 2 visits for Darren Appleton. And This is a gimme.
And this is one of them frames what can turn the match so easily.
And how does Pat Holtz respond?
Well, Pat's head will be in bits now after that. His swagger will have probably gone, and Darren probably can't believe his luck. But what's Darren played there?
Well, he's still got 2 visits in hand. And the only way he's going to miss these, I feel, is if he goes to queue up and one of his arms falls off.
Well, I can honestly say, I've known Darren for 10 years, and he's not going to miss these.
He was a beaten quarter-finalist last year. This year he wants to go at least one better. But he's got to survive this scare first.
Absolutely perfect.
I know Darren's been putting a lot of hard work into his game, on and off the table. I know where he lives in Pontefract they have a race course, and I know he's been running around the race course, trying to get himself mentally prepared and physically prepared for this tournament.
Was he jumping fences as well, Chris?
Well, I think what has he done there? I think he'll be jumping fences after that shot.
Well, if I'd missed that shot, I have to say I'd be jumping off the building. That's unbelievable. 2 visits, and you fancy him just to put that in one shot.
But, I mean, the only thing he's done wrong is he's played it at speed. If he played it soft, at least if it doesn't go in, it should hang around the pocket. He's played it at a speed where he's left himself a very difficult black now.
And how many times has this actual frame twisted round? Unbelievable. This is Darren's last bite of the cherry.
What a recovery from Darren Appleton there. He needed it, he had to have it, and get it he did. Appleton survives 7-6 to Pat Holtz. Darren Appleton, 7-6, he trails Pat Holtz.
And again, we see the centre of the pack is not splitting at all off the break. If you look at this break, the balls they don't burst out in the open.
Darren nearly hit the white ball with his cue then when it came back after he broke off.
Red ball's in play.
Peaks and valleys in this match. Well, right now, Appleton with a chance to start climbing again. Difficultly placed red, though, right at the bottom of the table next to the yellow. That's going to have to be developed. Tried to do it right there, and as he left it on.
Well, if that red goes into the bottom left-hand corner, the frame's Darren's. And it obviously does because Darren's straight down to it. No messing about. And just what must be going through Pat Holtz's head. He's got to be absolutely sick. Had the last frame at his mercy. Snookered himself on the black, gave away a foul.
And it was almost more punishing the way that Darren ended up eventually seizing the frame.
Indeed, gave him a bit of false hope, and he hasn't been out of his chair since that all happened. And he's not liable to get up now.
Darren looking in good position here to take it to 7-all.
(8-5) looked a certainty only scant minutes ago for Pat Holtz. All of a sudden, the scoreline he's going to be staring down is one of 7 frames apiece. The black down, and that scoreline now confirmed. 7-7 between Darren Appleton and Pat Holtz, going right down to the wire here in Blackpool. Frame 15, and Holtz cracks into them. Red into the top left corner. But look where the cue ball's finished.
Just look at the yellows, Jim.
All he's got to do is make his first putt. See this break off. Tremendous power this time. He's at last decided to take the handbrake off and actually give the balls a wallop.
Possibly a little frustration in that break off.
Could be right. He's got to go for the yellows. I feel he's got to cut the yellow ball that's in the centre of the table into the right hand's middle pocket. Either that or if he can see the yellow that's just to the right of the black,
30 seconds.
that'll be his ball. Has to make this first pot. And he's achieved it, and just look at the finish he has now. And this is such a good opportunity, Chris.
Yeah, and the only way to erase that mistake he's made on the black the last frame is to clear up here from the break, putting pressure straight back on Darren.
Easier said than done, though. Every ball takes on added significance now. We're coming down the home stretch in this quarterfinal, and the pressure is mounting. Yellow's ideally placed, but they can't really be easy enough for Pat.
Come on.
Again, cue ball very near the cushion, and that makes cueing a little more difficult. Well, you'd never know it the way that Pat's knocking these into the centers of the pocket.
This looks like he's soon forgotten about his previous mistakes.
And that's experience, isn't it?
Well, I have to say that the balls did come out very, very easy there for Pat. And if you ever wanted to get rid of a nasty memory from your previous frame, that was the type of finish you want. You know, you just feel if you maybe there's a couple of balls on the rail, it might have been a different kettle of fish. But he's cueing very smooth now. They call him Silky because of his silky smooth, flowing rhythm round the table.
Yeah, Pat's got a great cue action on the table. That's what makes him such a good player.
Yet another character building match for Pat Holtz. And nicely onto the black bottom right. To leave himself just one frame away from a place in the semifinals. Pat Holtz, 8-7 now in front of Darren Appleton. Can it get any closer than this?
How many times have we seen Darren get so close to the finish line and he can never get over it?
16th frame. Darren Appleton to break, trailing 8 frames to 7.
Frame 16, Appleton all set. He can afford no more mistakes, and that's a mistake. Quite possibly could be his last.
Come on, sir, hold it down, mate, come on.
One visit, open table, time running.
And he must be sick. That's the last thing he wanted to do there. He trails 8-7. Another look at it. That cue ball straight into the side pocket. That was a mishit.
Yeah, Darren's cued right across the ball there. You should never ever go in off in a middle bag. And here we see Pat
Yellow balls in play.
just a few balls away now from putting himself in the semi-final.
Well, the only problem I can see is a yellow that's stuck right next to the black ball. There we have it in the centre of the table. That's where Pat's main problem is.
It is, Tony, but I think here, if you can just pop the 2 yellows at the top of the table, hopefully leaving the white on an angle to pop the yellow in the corner and possibly cannon the black.
30 seconds.
He might even try and cannon the black now. The yellow
I was
one.
just thinking exactly the same thing. He has an angle to bring the white down into the area where the black and yellow are very close together. And it looks as if he's not going to take that option. He's going to try and pot this one, come down a few inches and leave an angle on the ball that's on the right hand side by the right hind side middle, and play this into the 2 balls.
Well, he's got so many options here. He's got 3 balls over the pockets to get on his hard one. I mean, I can't see him missing from here. He could even leave the yellow by the black into the centre pocket to last, to hold on to the black.
He's in no man's land right now in this Embassy Whirlpool Championship for 2002. He's never been to this stage. Looking at the semifinals. All he's got to do is drag his other foot over the finish line.
Well, he had a go there, and it's not come out right, and he's definitely not got the angle now.
Well, for me, that was... I don't even know what he was trying to play there. There was no need whatsoever to try and land in that area.
Yeah, I feel that he did take on a shot that was way too complicated to even consider at this sort of stage of a match, especially the quarterfinals of a World Championships.
Well, the finish had been made twice as hard now by that one shot.
30 seconds.
And I think Pat knows it.
Well, his last chance is to be able to get on that yellow above the black from the yellow bottom right.
I think he's got to drag this ball in as slow as he can with bottom. Hopefully putting the yellow in the corner. And now we see a tactical shot from Pat. We don't see that very often.
Red ball's in
I
play.
think he went to pot it, Chris. If you look where he left the cue ball, he left himself perfect to get onto the awkward yellow. I think he's gone for that. You should see him hang it over the corner bag.
The way that he was going about his business, though, he just looked like an accident waiting for a place to happen, and eventually it came. Half a chance for Darren Appleton. Far from easy, but a chance nevertheless. Looks like that red to the left centre's available.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Darren have a go here. If he can get to the ball in the top left-hand corner pocket.
How tight is that, Chris?
Well, that's very tight. I think what Darren's trying to look at, he's putting the red to the right-hand side of the table in off the yellow. That'll open both reds into the corner pocket, and he'll have every chance of clearing up. There we see him on it.
Good long red there. The red to the left centre wasn't quite as open as it appeared. That just meant he had to take a more difficult one on. But you know something, Chris? If he can drop onto one of those two reds now, he's got the angle here, the two reds just to the left. He's got the angle on the red. He could elect to take the cue ball and attack those. He could certainly put all his eggs in one basket if he did that.
He could be tempted just to cover the pocket here. Yeah, just bide himself a little bit of time. Played that absolutely perfect.
Very good shot there from Darren Appleton.
On two occasions we've seen Pat Holtz in what looked like a winning position, only to manufacture a loss from it. I wonder if yet again is he going to seize
I just wonder if
defeat
Pat's
from
going
the
to play.
jaws of victory, Tony.
I just wonder if Pat's going to play a tactical shot now. He could maybe either skim off the yellow next to the black ball and try and push the black
Seconds.
over to where he has the pocket covered, and that would then give Pat control of the frame, because whoever controls the 8 ball will control this match.
I think Pat's actually looking at a double here. And now he's just left Darren the frame. Oh, he's been very fortunate to leave it next to the red.
Well, I think he's trying to lunge over the line, Jim. And he's had a couple of chances. He's not feeling 100% comfortable out there, is he?
One thing about it, though, if Darren could win this one and force that decider, Pat Holtz would be breaking off in it.
Well, I think Darren's got to have a go here. If he's got a chance, he's got to go. But now we see him play a tactical shot again.
Again, it's not a bad shot.
It's not a bad shot, but Pat can actually play the yellow into the black, knocking the black up the table, knocking Darren's red next to the yellow, as we see there. Darren's in lots of trouble here.
He could have actually played that a lot better, couldn't he?
Yes, he could have pushed the red right over to the yellow. Darren's got an half chance here. If he can drop the red in the centre bag, he can play the plant, then playing the ball in the top pocket, and he's got a chance. It's very difficult at this stage.
Yeah, the roadmap very unclear.
Well, he's decided to bide his time. It's not going to be rushed into anything too drastic down Appleton. Again, he's left really no easy out there for Pat, and I don't think he'll go for it.
Well, that's what you suggested earlier, Tony, I believe, to nudge that red over the yellow. And now, Pat Holtz has secured his position even more.
You know, it's given Pat a great opportunity now to build upon this frame.
And he's not sitting down.
No, he's been stood up for most of this frame, isn't he?
Darren had 2 chances, Chris, to pot out here. They weren't easy, but a confident Darren Appleton might well have gone at them.
Is Darren looking to play deliberate foul here and screw the white right back to the top of the table, leaving Pat no shot? No, he's going to bring the red away. Pat has a chance here, but will he go?
Well, I feel he's going to have to go now because there's nowhere really he can run and hide. The only other option is to double the A-ball back towards his yellow over the bag, but I don't feel that's a good option.
I feel as though he's got to pop this yellow, come out for the other 2 yellows and try and clear and double the black.
He's going to leave the cue ball down here, Chris. Again, is this the right shot?
But he's just giving Darren opportunities just to bring his reds out, and eventually, if Pat doesn't have a go,
Well,
Darren
he's actually snookered down up and surely with that shot, but and there you can see the cue ball wedged the yellow in the jaw of the pocket. Darren could probably just tap into this yellow, play the deliberate foul, which he's going to do.
Foul.
He's given 2 visits to Pat Holtz, and Pat's just going nowhere off that, and obviously that's going to be a touching ball.
Well, if that's touching ball, can he bring the black into play? Because if it is touching, then Darren has probably played the worst shot he's played in the match.
The referee hasn't come to have a look. He must not be touching, otherwise I've got a feeling that Pat Holtz might well be doing exactly, and he's
Well,
played into the yellow, so it couldn't have been
second
touching.
Well, Pat's going here. I think what he was trying to do is pop the yellow in the top corner, leaving the yellow over the bottom left-hand bag to knock the black out.
Yep. All sounds good. The yellow over the bottom left will be the last one to go to try and take the black.
It's all about this shot.
What on earth was that?
That is just trying to grab something that isn't there. Darren Appleton's going to make this 8-all now, and Pat's just tried to grab the opportunity when he could have done it 5 minutes ago.
Well, I also think that Pat Holtz has just donned a red and white suit because he's just played Father Christmas here and gift wrapped that one right over to Darren Appleton. There was no reason for him to play that shot at the pace that he played it. That was just a nervous lunge.
Yes, I think he's trying to fall over the finish line.
Well, it's not going to happen. It doesn't come like that, does it?
Or get pushed.
Can Darren take us into another decider at these World Championships?
We've seen a number of them. And Pat Holtz has already survived 2 of them. 2 scares, both 8-7 wins. He's already had a couple looks at the finish line in this match.
Doesn't really have to do anything with the cue ball here. Taking that extra bit of care. Needs to be so sure he doesn't let a mistake creep into this, because it will be his last. He's just going to require this 8-ball now to take us into a 1-frame sudden death for a place in the semi-finals.
Don't anybody leave your seats. It's all down to 1 frame for a place in the semifinals in this year's Embassy World 8-Ball Pool Championship. 8s are wild here in Blackpool. Darren Appleton and Pat Holtz. Frame number 17, right down to the wire. Pat Holtz and Darren Appleton. Which one will survive to fight on for the title? Holtz all set to break.
Foul.
Well, that's what we saw Darren Appleton do in the last frame, and he survived. Will Pat Holtz, another look. Again, that's a miss hit. When that cue ball goes straight into the pocket like that, that's a miss hit.
Well, it hasn't come out too bad, really. I think the reds are the balls, but at 8-all, there's no easy clearances.
I think he has to choose reds here, Chris. He has no choice. The yellow on the right-hand side near the bottom corner is completely in jail. Illustrator. And with that yellow being in jail, really, reds have to be the ball of choice.
Could see a bit of tactical play develop into this last frame. As I said, it's nothing easy.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, I cannot believe that Darren has gone yellows.
I'm very surprised.
If Pat Holtz can get back to the table and take one of these bottom corner pockets, he's got a massive advantage.
Seconds.
Taken a lot of time, and I don't think that there's any way that this can't be a tactical battle. And what a position that Darren Appleton finds himself in right now. And you know, this is bringing back some very bad memories for Appleton. He was a 9-8 loser to you last year in this very stage, Chris, and would you believe you went on to win the event, and only a couple years ago Quinton Hahn beat him 9-8 in the quarterfinals, and the Australian went on to win the event. So Pat Holtz might be reliving a little bit of history repeating itself.
Yes, I don't think Darren's ever won a decider in the World Championships. Not on the TV stage. But even bringing that red into play,
And it's not made it any
it
easier, is
hasn't
it,
done
Chris?
any good for him. Well, I'm afraid to say, if Darren doesn't clear these, Pat Holtz is going to win.
He's got to go into them now. He's looking over that side of the table. And the yellow furthest to the left, he's got to pot that and kick in to the little cluster at the right-hand side of the table. In this direction, that's where he needs to be going.
And he'll need a good running too. But you know, pressure manifests itself in so many different ways. It isn't always a miss. Oftentimes it can be just a poor train of thinking. So only time will tell now if Darren Appleton has measured this one out. Now he's brought the yellow. He's taken the red away, but he hasn't cleared the yellow. And you can see that look says it all.
Well, he didn't screw across it. He went with topspin into them, Chris. And I feel that was the wrong shot, don't you?
Yeah, I think what he was scared of was if he screwed into him, he could have gone in off the red if he caught it half ball. I mean, I just cannot believe he's gone for yellows from the start. I thought reds were definitely the balls. He had one hard ball. If he gets on that and brings it out, it's all over.
And also, if he failed to take out reds, he had a bit of added security in there as well.
That's right, he could have just covered the pocket.
Well, I don't think he's going now. I think this is a cover shot he's playing. And he's left it short.
Red ball's in play.
Not left anything easy for Pat Holtz, though. Awkward queuing wherever he goes. He's certainly not going to move that red away from the yellow at the right-hand side of the table.
Well, again, Tony, I think I'd rather be on reds than be on yellows. If he can get a red to this bottom left-hand corner where the two yellows are, I can't see him losing it. There we see him pop the red and land absolutely perfect to cover the pocket.
But would you not like to take out the red at the top of the table first before you do this?
No, I
Just
think
makes life a little bit easier later on.
I think I'd play it now. You see, if he plays it now, it could force Darren to bring the yellow away on the right hand side of the table. I don't think he's covered the pocket there.
He's overhit it.
And he's left Darren a chance.
Well, Darren Appleton's going to have to go for this. There you see, the yellow will pass the red into the corner pocket. It's not got a full pocket, but they're very generous, these pockets. You can have half the bag and still smash them in.
Does he go for this, or does he try and get in behind the red?
I go for it, Jim. What about you, Chris?
I think he can pop the yellow in the bottom left and screw into the red and the yellow. He's absolutely guaranteed. If he hits the red, he's guaranteed to be on a yellow.
30 seconds.
Well, if he plays that shot, Chris, I'm going to go check his water.
That's what he tried, and he's missed it.
I have to say, I'm very surprised that he played that shot. That was, to me,
Well, he's got his head in his
a
hands.
desperation attempt.
Well, we had Pat lunging at the line in the previous frame, and now we've got Darren doing the same. It's like two boxers stood toe to toe, just hitting each other with lefts and rights, and they've hardly got an ounce left in them.
Well, Pat Holtz surely now must realize that the frame and the match are there for the taking. All remaining 6 reds nicely in the open. This is all about keeping those nerves in check and letting that back arm do what it's done for countless hours in practice.
Nice pot there.
I think he's just landed a little too straight. I think he wanted a better angle on that.
I think he could force this one in, Chris, maybe with a bit of top and side, or he could even just sort of like punch just below the middle of the cue ball and bring it out.
I'm surprised when Pat potted the ball in the corner that he didn't hold for the other one on the bottom cushion, making the clearance that little bit easier.
Well, I think he's feeling the pressure, as you would be at 8-all in a world quarter final. But hasn't he played that shot well?
He's played
He's
absolutely
going to run
perfect.
through now for the red to the left of the black. If he gets perfect on that, it's all over, Chris, don't you think?
Yes, he's just got to land high on the red, land on the bottom one along the bottom cush, red into the centre. And unlucky for Darren, I can't see him getting back to the table.
How many times have we said that, though, before in this match? It's got to be absolutely distraught as he slumps down in his chair.
But we've seen Darren throw away so many opportunities. Again, when he played Quintanan, he was in total control of the frame, and he's tried and lunged over the line, and it hasn't worked. But what's Pat played there? Is he looking to play the red into the centre bag last?
Twitchy one now. You see, the thing is, he's got to get absolutely perfect now on the ball at the bottom of the table, and then again.
Yeah, right
After
where
he's
he
got
was
on this
cueing,
one.
Tony. If he can bring the cue ball into this area here.
Then he has to get perfect on the last red as well. A few twitchy shots there. I thought I would have gone the other way, Chris. What about you?
Well, this is what pressure does to you. For those watching at home, these boys would never miss on a practice table from here. But the added pressure of the World Championships and getting into a semi-final.
It's a little straighter than he might have
He
liked.
doesn't want to keep it on the bottom rail.
I don't see how he can get it off it, Tony.
Well, it's a tiny bit of angle, but I mean, you could get it off it, but you're going to have to hit this about 100 mile an hour.
Which makes the pocket smaller.
Indeed.
I think he's just got to land dead straight on the red in the middle and cue it like a dream.
Yeah, cue it like a dream, which could have turned into a nightmare, Chris. I think he's made his work very difficult here.
Seconds.
Well, he punched that in with authority.
Played that exceptionally well for the circumstances and the pressure that he's under. Just going to pot this red into the left-hand centre, stop the cue ball dead, and the black will go in the other middle pocket.
This is the shot for a place in the semi-finals because he's certain to finish on the black. And what a shot. Look at Pat Holtz. A quick stare to the heavens. I think he knows he's there.
Yes, it's all over now.
The 8 down, and yet again, Darren Appleton falls short in the quarterfinals. Pat Holtz has just survived 3 final deciders on the spin. He is through to the semifinals. A 9-8 winner over Darren Appleton.
What a superb match. Patrick Holtz, the first man through to the semi-finals, the 3rd deciding frame match he's played in this event, defeating Appleton by 9 frames to 8. That's confirmation of the results. Still 3 more matches to go in the quarter-finals, but Patrick Holtz, he must be on top of the world at the moment. Rob, you've been watching it with me. What do you think?
Oh, over the moon for him. I've been with Pat all week, and I know what this means to him. You know, he's been with me when I won the world title, and I want to be there when he wins, you know, and he's one step nearer now.
So plenty more action to come in the MBC World Pool Championships. That's all from us today.